Grant spinning.
Are you serious?
Countdown! Write it down, Mrs. Brown. It's in the books. And Oakley's foul couldn't stop him.
Grant Hill, sensational move. The bucket and the foul. And that had this place rocking.
Grant Henry Hill, born October 5th, 1972. Today's feature is of a player that to me was one of the most beautiful players to watch perform. In the mid-90s, the basketball world salivated over a talent that had all the skills to be next in line to bridge the NBA into the future after Michael Jordan retired for the first time. He had the sports pedigree, being the son of an NFL player, ideal size for either wing position, could shoot, handle, and had high IQ. But most importantly, he was a clean-cut image of what the NBA wanted to promote to its consumers. He ended up playing 18 seasons in the league, 19 in total, and averaged 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists over that span for a pretty respectable career. He's been a great representative of what a professional athlete is supposed to look like on and off the floor, a great sportsman, won multiple NBA awards, including multiple All-Stars, and transitioned after his playing days seamlessly into society. He's even received the highest honor you can in basketball, being named a Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer. So why is he being featured on a channel like Stunted Growth? Well, because believe it or not, simply put, he could have been even better. For those that don't remember Grant Hill, let me formally introduce you to the player that could have been the best of a generation, that included the greatest player of all time, and what caused him to fall levels shy of that. Let's get into it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Ash, get it, man. Grant Hill is a 6'8" small forward shooting guard from Dallas, Texas, and played his high school ball for South Lakes in Reston, Virginia. He began his high school career not wanting to step on the toes of the upperclassmen and often refused to step into the spotlight as the best player on the team regardless of class. It came to a point where he was so good that nothing could stand in his way of that, not even himself. By the end of his senior year, he was a parade All-American as well as McDonald's, Mr. Basketball in Virginia, and recruited by all the major college programs in the nation, most notably the 3 biggest nearby schools, Georgetown, North Carolina, and Duke. His mother, who was a Pentagon worker, wanted Grant to go to Georgetown, and his father wanted him to carry on the tradition of being a North Carolina Tar Heel. At that point, Hill, who was looking for a way to establish himself outside of his mom's disciplinarian order and his father's persuasive cloud, decided to blaze his own trail and sign with the Duke Blue Devils, who hadn't won a national title up to that point. That would quickly change in the next 4 years, where Hill became one of the best college players of his era. Stunt number 1, bone bruise. The success for Hill began immediately after stepping foot on Duke's campus. He fit right into what the program represented and wanted to do on the floor, which was win by committee and share the wealth of success with thy brother. Being an only child, Hill longed for that as well, and it created a perfect match. He won a national championship in his first season behind leaders like sophomore point guard Bobby Hurley and junior Christian Laettner. He averaged 11 points, 5 rebounds in just 24 minutes that season. As a sophomore, he began to show signs of his great potential, becoming one of the team's leaders and leading them to a second consecutive national championship game. In that game, he used his supreme gene to launch an iconic pass to Christian Laettner that gave Duke its second national championship in 2 years, with 2 seconds left on the clock. He averaged 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists that season. Going into his junior year, Grant was urged to take the front seat for the program, a role he previously shied away from but was now ready and equipped for. He did so effortlessly with the departures of his upperclassmen and led the team to the NCAA tournament again, in which they lost to Jason Kidd, Lamont Murray, and the Cal Bears in the second round. He had his best statistical season, averaging 18, 6, and 2, and was named First Team All-ACC, Defensive Player of the Year, and Second Team All-American. Hill could have easily left for the NBA after that season and should be commended more for staying and allowing his game to develop, coming back for his senior season, where he took his team to another national championship game, even though losing to Arkansas in the final moments. At this point, he was all everything, Player of the Year and clear top 5 pick in the upcoming draft. He was taken with the 3rd pick by the Detroit Pistons behind Glenn Robinson and Jason Kidd, and was immediately identified as the guy that was going to be the heir apparent to Michael Jordan. Because of his 4-year college development, Hill stepped right into those expectations and were proving them correct, winning the co-Rookie of the Year with Jason Kidd and making the All-Star team as the leading vote getter. He made the team in his first 3 seasons and was tearing through the NBA as its young, properly groomed star that had everything he needed to step into those shoes when the time was right. But that time would never come. As good as Grant Hill was by his 6th season with Detroit, leading them to the playoffs although never reaching the second round, he would sustain an injury to his ankle in 99-2000 that was first thought of as a bone bruise that he was allowed to continue playing on. In Game 2 of the 2000 playoffs, Hill showed the first signs that the injury was much more serious than thought to be. Instead of a bone bruise, it was a broken ankle, and that injury would be the table setter for his disappointing years to come. Stunt number 2, illusions. Grant Hill would have surgery in the offseason that year, was in a walking boot and crutches, and thought to make a full recovery, entering the beginning of what was to be a legendary career. With his contract up in Detroit, Hill wanted more team success and to live in a better climate for his body, so signed a $93 million deal for 7 years with the Orlando Magic, who would go on to sign Tracy McGrady to the same deal, bringing them together in hopes of creating a winning tandem. But this dream for everyone involved was an illusion because Grant's body was in the initial stage of showing him that that injury was more long-term for him. In his first game for the Magic, Grant Hill knew he wasn't the same, and the things that once came easy for him were now painful. This led to him not being able to get to his spots like before and getting his shots blocked at times when he got there. After the game, he knew it was serious, and just after 4 games, his season was done, again with another fracture in his ankle. Once more, he went through the rehab process and saw the illusions of him coming back and being the player he once was and many expected him to become. But after just 47 games in 3 years with the Magic, more surgeries and returns, more setbacks and games missed, things looked unclear. He sat out the entire 03-04 season after surgeons broke his bone in his ankle to realign it, and infections were later found. Even though he returned in 04-05, his numbers began to decline every season from then, and he became a shell of what he once was. Stunt number 3, errors. It's called that for a reason. Because in sports, every athlete has one, and it's remained undefeated in showing players the exit, especially in the NBA. Time was up for Grant Hill, and not as in him playing in the league or even being a solid rotational player, but time of him being or becoming a star was done by 04-05, and another era was ushering itself in. Grant Hill had spent so much of his as an outstanding college athlete, bursting on the scene as an NBA player and all-star, and most notably, injured. On the sidelines, listening to all the talk of him being a bust, or milking his injuries because he'd already gotten paid, or not being tough enough, or even soft. But Grant Hill, to me, wasn't soft, or milking it, or a bust. He simply had some unfortunate setbacks due to injury, and by the time he was healed again in 07-08 when he signed with the Phoenix Suns, his era was over. The league had completely changed and new talent was setting the tone for what was to come. Some say his time in Phoenix is what solidified his Hall of Fame status, seeing as he finally made it past the first round in 2010 and how he changed the narrative that he couldn't handle the NBA rigors. He had 3 straight 80-game seasons with the Suns and averaged double figures. He retired in 2013 and was inducted into the Hall of Fame 5 years later. All in all, Hill had a solid career, and I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, which shocked many people, seeing that his best NBA years was in his first 6 with Detroit, and he never saw that success again. But what he did from high school and the amazing run he had in college, along with his NBA accomplishments, tied into how he represented the professional athlete over the years, there's no question he belongs. He's a legend of the generation I grew up watching, and it's great to see him rewarded as such. Salute to Grant Hill, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out. Also, visit stuntedgrowth3.com right now. We have some new winter merch for all your fashion needs. We have the Legends Edition package, the Championship Edition, and much more to satisfy your winter fashion. Once again, visit stuntedgrowth3.com right now. Please like and subscribe to this video for more content. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, man. Let's get it.